Hi friends, this is Dan Stolbarger. Welcome to this week's Kfir Middle East Update. It's the week before Christmas. That's right, the week of December 17th. Lots going on in the Middle East, and a reminder, get the PDF PowerPoint. There's always more information in that than we have time for in this YouTube. And you can get that on our website, holygroundexplorations.com, or just click the link here on the YouTube channel. We're going to begin with our news bites. A respected Israeli journalist, Carolyn Glick, I got this quote from her. I think highly of her. She says, Israel is strong enough to defeat its enemies, but she warns Israel's security establishment needs to wake up from its American delusion. America does not have Israel's back. Only Israel has Israel's back. Kind of let that sink in with all the threats, the saber rattling that's going on in these days, the backroom deals in Vienna or whatever with the US and Iran. Israel, only Israel has Israel's back. And dare I say, the hand of God. Well, Biden administration, what's going on? Why many of you would say, no, wait, America's got Israel's back. Let's look at the facts. In order for Israel to take care of the imminent threat from Iran, remember, when your enemy says that they want to wipe you off the face of the map, let me give you a bit of advice. Believe them. So Israel can't let this go on much longer, but in order for them to take out the nuclear threat, they're going to need some aid from the US. They're going to need refueling jet tankers. They're known as the Kfir 46s. But this last week, when Benny Gantz went to Washington to meet with the Biden administration, the U.S. is telling Israel that these new tanker jets that they need, that's key to an Iranian strike, don't expect them to come anytime soon. According to the New York Times, Gantz was asking to accelerate the delivery of these Kfir 46 refueling planes, but was told that the first aircraft that they could expect to receive would unlikely to arrive before 2024. Another news bite. Did you know that a new poll of Arab residents of Jerusalem by a Palestinian media outlet found that 93% of them would prefer to remain under Israeli rule and would not give up their Israeli identity cards versus a two-state solution with Palestinian rule. And as I mentioned, when we talk about the United Nations and Israel, they're referred to as the United Nothings. With everything that's been transpiring with recent terrorist activity, growing anti-Semitism worldwide, the United Nations General Assembly approved, are you ready for this? The vote was 146-7, a resolution that condemned acts of terror. Yeah, good. However, by extreme Israeli settlers. The resolution was entitled "The Israeli Settlements in Occupied Palestinian Territories," including East Jerusalem and the occupied Golan. These words are loaded with meaning. But while the resolution spoke of a number of times about violence from the Israeli settlers, not once was anything pointed to condemn Palestinian terrorist activities on the streets of Jerusalem, stabbings, car rammings, etc. And this was just a part of a package of 6 different anti-Israeli texts that they approved. The other was concerning the Golan Heights. The UN for some time has been focusing its energies on attacking Israel for, quote, occupying the Golan Heights, perhaps the most strategic portion of land in all of the Middle East. Whoever controls the Golan controls the area. Currently, Israel occupies the Golan, but this UN resolution demands that Israel withdraw every Jew from the Golan Heights. In the midst of all these, is there anything that talks about a resolution concerning the Assad regime and what they've done in Syria? Because again, they want the Israelis to give the Golan back to Syria. The Assad regime gassing, killing its citizens, not one thing mentioned. You can probably figure out why they call them the United Nothings. Biden in Israel. Let me just read you a little bit. This is about the consulate that they want to, that Biden administration, it seemingly has backed away from, wants to put in the heart of Jerusalem. Been there, you walk by this all the time. If you're staying at one of the Dan or Leonardo hotels, as you make your way into the old city of Jerusalem, it's a stone's throw away from the Jaffa Gate, picture you see in the slide. But the U.S. Does not want to just open this consulate merely to have a place for diplomatic connections with the Palestinian Authority. If that was the case, they could open it up in Ramallah. But the purpose of opening this consulate in Jerusalem is to recognize the Palestinians' claims to Jerusalem. Again, you can't disassociate this. The claims of the Palestinians, they want their capital to be Jerusalem. And from the moment that the Biden administration has come to power, it looks as if they're trying to provide a roadmap for this to take place. Who stands with Israel today? Peace partner. Again, this two-state solution concept. A Palestinian that was accused of aiding those 6 terrorists that escaped from prison recently said, it ain't that big of a deal for us to commit these acts of terrorism and get thrown into prison, because it's just a matter of time until these prison sentences that are given to terrorists will be nullified. We just need to kidnap more Israelis and demand freedom for our terrorists, our freedom fighters. And unfortunately, it's true. That's exactly what takes place. Again, for the Palestinians, the 4 recent Palestinians that were shot and killed when they were carrying out stabbings or car rammings against Israelis in the last 3 weeks, are presented in Palestinian terms as defenseless civilians who were executed by the occupiers. They are victims of Israeli terror and cold-blooded murder and war crimes. Wait. These are the ones that attacked, stabbed, car rammed, and yet from the peace partner side, they were executed victims of Israeli terror. It's crazy what's going on. Did you know? Were you aware? And then I thought I'd just give you a shot from the Tehran Times. Just one wrong move this is the headlines. And that map there with all those red dots that you're looking at, that's Israel. And according to Iran, Those are all areas that have been targeted by their missiles. So many words. You mess with us, you do one thing. Look where we're going to attack. Take a look at that map. But with that being said, Israel cannot allow Iran, their enemy, to have the capabilities of a nuclear weapon. They don't need all those targets if they've got one bomb. One bomb hitting Tel Aviv. Think about it. One bomb. And so Israel must act. Back to Carolyn Glick's article. One thing for certain, Israel is the only one that has Israel's back. As believers today, we're encouraged to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And as for me and my house, we have taken a stand to stand with Israel. How about you? That's our report for this week. God bless you and shalom.